Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda.
And it really does seem like that's their agenda, guys, as I just spoke on the end of that intro there. Yeah, you're going to have nothing left is what they want. And, to throw into that, we've got what's just going on around the world, guys. We got volcanoes going off places. Mount Etna's gone off, Guatemala, Japan. It's a real mix out there, people. There's a big dam in China, I think, has gone down. We're in for some fun and games, I think. And we were told about this in the good book, guys. All right, you told us that these were the things we're going to see. And as I said to you before, and I've said to you many times, what are we here for? To endure and overcome. So get yourself ready, because I think, and only what I'm saying, I think it's going to get quite rocky, guys. Okay, quite rocky as we go through this exposure of the Satanism that's, influencing this world. So, yeah, I think God's going to shake it up a bit. So, anyway, I think so. What I am getting sick of is this long COVID attention on kids and that. We know what the long COVID is, guys. All right, it's the results of you and your poisoning and your vaccines and your immunisations. And it's just, if anything, it'll be a well set out influenza B, which seems to be what's happening around the world. They're calling it COVID. It's be influenza B's, guys, and it will be a manipulated variant, because the plan was to have a test run and then put out the real thing. So apparently some pretty sick people in Brisbane I've seen. So be careful, guys. And the hard part about that is, I'm just looking at an article here. We got 8 people living in a tent going into winter. Great family. Got nowhere else to go, mate. One of the kids there, about 12 months old. Just unbelievable. Due to the rental, they just couldn't make the rent, guys, like a lot of people. Okay, so it is getting tough out there. It's going to get a little bit tougher out there. But we're going to chat about a few things tonight, guys. We got Derek on. Derek's going to come in. Caz has got a couple of questions for him on some stuff that she wanted to talk about. And hey, Derek, how are you, mate?
Good evening, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Derek. Yeah, so give us a quick update on what has been going on, mate. These fictitious criminal, banking cartels that are running out of courts, mate. What's happening?
Well, since we last spoke, Dave, we have got an amazing situation in the Eric and Serena case in Wodonga, where the judge or the magistrate was pulled up on destroying Eric's 14 witnesses, and we used the Charter of Human Rights, and we shut down the court. We stopped the criminal trial, and they're using Roman law called sine die or sine die, and that means there's no date. And the magistrate has told us all the things we need to know and said she's not coming back to the courtroom until we work it out with the police, because she doesn't want to get her hands dirty to rule against the police force in Victoria.
So, again, they're just looking after their Freemason mates, you know what I mean, and doing what they're instructed to do, Derek, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so they're stiff-arming us in the Australian courts, no doubt, in the state courts, you know what I mean, or wherever we go, they're sort of, delaying stuff, putting stuff on the back table, it's just stiff-arm tactics, isn't it, so I'll let Caz come in and ask the questions, because she had sort of looked into this, but, there's a lot of talk about the American scene, to do with us, and, we got, who was it? Julian Assange. Yeah, Julian Assange.
Well, I do.
Go, Caz.
No, I wanted to look. I just wanted to bring this in because this is Julian Assange.
Would understand that Australia is part of the United States. It is part of this English-speaking Christian empire, the centre of gravity, which is the United States, the second centre of which is the United Kingdom, and Australia is a suburb in that arrangement. And therefore we shouldn't go, oh, it's completely hopeless, it's completely lost. Australian sovereignty, we're never going to get that back. We can't control the basic big regulatory structure, which we're involved in terms of strategic alliances, mass surveillance, and so on. No, we just have to understand that our capital is Washington. The capital of Australia is DC. That's the reality. So when you're engaging campaigns, just engage directly with DC, because that's where the decisions are made. And that's what I do, and that's what WikiLeaks does. We engage directly with DC, we engage directly with Washington, and that's what Australians should do. We have this electronic globalization. You can read all their newspapers, you can write letters to them, you can engage directly with all these institutions. Just do that, because that's where the decisions are made. They're not made in Australia.
Now, you mentioned something before with Nick Patterson, and I'd like to know a bit more about that.
Well, Caz, just after Nick Patterson went to the city and he was surrounded by, 100-odd police, and they circled him, and he forced his way through and argued his way out of it, and he went to a rally, and then he came from the rally and they actually chased him down and actually hunted him down, I would say, because I saw the video, broke his arm, let him go to hospital. Then he returned the next day, went to a congregation. He went to a church gathering, and he was arrested. He told me that he spent the best part, maybe 3 weeks out of a month, in solitary confinement, and he was only allowed out for half an hour a day. So he spoke to me after he was released, and he said, would you help me to do an affidavit? I've got 4 court cases. I put together a document, which I'm happy to give to both of you. And he actually said, we actually wrote in the document that his case cannot go ahead because we are standing under the 45th President Donald J. Trump in October 2021. He didn't even get to leave home, and he was given a message not to come to court. The case was dismissed. 4 court cases, 4 charges, 4 case numbers, gone, dismissed. We put in a claim of $56.4 million, which still sits on a shelf in the South Melbourne suburb of Frankston. and it hasn't been finished yet because Nick Patterson hasn't finished the paperwork that had 4 court cases knocked off the table, dismissed, pushed out the door. So
Well,
I totally subscribe with what Julian Assange just said. He's been through hell. He's been in jail. He's believed in what he's saying, and I totally support what he's saying. And I've been trying to tell people, there it is. So all these people saying we got the Constitution are in the dark ages because they don't understand. It's gone.
interesting. So, are we better off, taking a swipe at America, are we, and doing it that way, Derek? What? Yeah.
How do you mean, Dave? What do you want to try and say?
Are we better off doing what you're saying there? You're like start trying on a few court cases to bring in that where that you guys have no jurisdiction. We're actually under the law of war. Manual. We're under the realm of the United States at the moment. What we're trying to instigate here, obviously, would be 11.3, which means that the belligerent occupation no longer has the power over the people. And that instigates 11.3 of the law of war manual. So is that what you're thinking, Caz? Is that your train here?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, like if we're under the 11.3, the law of war, which seems to be an indication that we are because of the Donald Trump retruthing the other day, that Biden was shot. So therefore we would have to be under martial law. So that would be active. And if that's active, then are we able to actually deploy a similar tactic? That's what I was thinking.
Well, no court in Australia is going to want to allow that we're under Washington. I've actually put that into courtrooms, and I say to people to say the one question that the magistrates and judges can't answer. Do you stand under your own Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who went to England on the 6th of May 2023 to kiss King Charles on his ring, the one on his hand, by the way? And the magistrates have the same answer in every state in Australia. We can't go there. We can't go there. Can't talk about Albanese. We can't talk about King Charles. So,
are we able to get a look at that affidavit? Is it? I mean, can you take out the pertinent parts like the names and things like that? Are we able to actually have a look at it and see, what the difference is with it?
Caz, I'm happy to share the copy with you. I'm giving this away to people every week because it's got to go out that this is what people need to hear because I tested this in court. I'm not talking about doing a Zoom and doing a YouTube and, saying that we're under the Constitution, saying that. I'm actually doing this in court. And this is what happened with Nick Patterson's case. And I'm going to get into trouble for saying this. He let the whole thing go when he walked away and he went to 3 barristers and it cost him $250,000 in legal fees. And it didn't do anything with regard to what happened to him and the police. And he's got a $56.4 million claim, which has not been completed yet. So I'm happy to give it to you.
So did he, when you say he let it go, is that he went for the barristers for the claim, is that correct?
Well, he went through a different group and they said, no, you've got to get a lawyer because lawyers will do a better job than what Derek can do because he's, lawyers, you've got to trust the barristers because they're working for us. I said, we don't have lawyers or barristers or judges in Australia because they don't stand under the Prime Minister. So he's gone ahead.
They all stand under the British, Bar Association accreditation. We know that, yeah.
Exactly. They do not have any connection. And if I can go back to the Wodonga case, the magistrate actually was asked the question by Eric, do you stand above the Parliament or do you stand below? And she said, well, it's a very difficult question. We are separate from the Parliament House. The court system is not connected. She said this on the record. We can do our own thing, but we have to look at what the Parliament does to make a law, and the Charter of Human Rights, we have to actually do something about it, but we're not connected. That means there's no constitution. End of story.
Well,
is this because we're a corporation, correct? Or acting as a corporation?
Yep.
Interesting angle. Very interesting angle.
So it's really hard to sort of push back on all the noise that these other groups, and I won't mention their names, there's no need for that. I talk about it every day when I put a social media thing out, are trying to tell people a lie because they are trying to say they've never been to court, that we still have the Constitution. I said it's not in the national referendum. It did not happen in the last federal election we just had a couple of weeks ago. There's no Constitution in the courts, in the elections, and on our notes, on our money. It's been taken off the plastic notes. There's no Commonwealth of Australia on the notes. It's gone.
Well, where do we go from here? It's a song, you know. Where do we go from here now that all of the children are growing up? Because we're all growing up, but we're not seem to be getting what we want to get here, Derek. You know, we've been, you know, let's just say we started this little journey, a lot of us 5 or 6 years ago, as little children.
Yep.
And we've enveloped into these adults, these lounge room lawyers, these backyard barristers, you know what I mean? And we're very skilled now. And we got a lot of people doing it. But now we've grown up. Where do we go? Is this maybe a way to, you know, to really put some pressure on America and Trump? And although, you know, look, I got my thoughts on this, mate. I think we could all be getting led down a golden path, you know what I mean, by everybody. So, you know, it's humanity's job to get this right, you know what I mean, and do what we need to do. So, yeah, it's very interesting, man. It's starting to really open up now.
Yep.
Well, that is really, that is interesting. Did you want to stick around because we've got some news that we wanted to actually have a look at? But yeah, if you can get those, that paperwork to us, and also any rulings that you've got, that'd be interesting to have a look at as well. So, even just the email, there we will not be, we will not be addressing this because I'd like to have a look at it and see, you know, just I want to have a look at it and see. So,
all right, happy to.
All right,
okay. So, just one question here, because, I'd just like Derek's opinion on this too. Just quickly, in 60 seconds, Derek, explain yourself. Where did the Constitution actually go and when?
You could spend a couple of hours on that question.
Yeah,
some people will say, I asked for that one, didn't I? Some people will argue, me included, the Constitution, when it went from Australia back to England, didn't get signed by Queen Victoria. Dead.
Yep.
Some people will say in 1920, Australia went to the post-war gathering in France and said we're a separate country. That's another point. Other people will say Gough Whitlam destroyed it when he changed the Constitution to the Queen of Australia in 1975. Yep. I'm using in my paperwork, we had a national referendum on the 6th of November 1999. Every state in Australia and territory said no, we're not becoming a republic. We are under the Queen. And that's when all the problems in my book, Victoria threw out the Queen within 10 months, and all the companies and police and judges and courts and Department of Australian Electoral Commission, the tax office, all became companies before we had that referendum on the 6th of November.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Yep.
So I'm using that because it's only 25 years ago. But you can argue half a dozen different points.
Okay. All right, Cazza. Sorry, darling.
No, you're right. It's very interesting. Very interesting to have a look. Look, this was going on the rounds. It's Chris Smith, and he's actually admitted to the problem that he had the COVID issue.
Was every major study that I've looked at, mainstream study, has told me how wrong I was during the pandemic. To believe government, to believe big pharma, to believe eminent immunologists was wrong, and it's proved that way.
Yeah.
We've had far too many serious injuries and deaths from the jab.
The first person of influence in this country that's actually done that, and just to get the word out there so people will start to believe it.
You can't. Well, but you got to tell the truth, you know. That's the truth.
Hang on, that's considered, isn't that considered far right these days?
Whatever it's considered, but I got it wrong. I wish I'd known then what I knew then. But I had eminent immunology. Anyway, no excuse. I should have considered that it was taking too quick a time to put a vaccine on the market, and we should have been a lot more. We should have scrutinised it a lot more. Having said that, people need to do their own research from Cleveland, Oxford University, and from New Zealand. 3 mainstream studies showing that the injuries that have occurred and the deaths that have occurred from the COVID vaccine have exceeded all the advice we got from Big Pharma.
Yep.
And,
are you aware of something called Open Day N? Have you heard of that before?
Tell our listeners about it.
Okay, it's our version of theirs, which is the Adverse Events Register, where people can actually go and register when they believe they've been damaged by a vaccine.
Right. How do they do that again? How do they gravitate to that, especially for people listening?
All right, so that's their thing about it. Now, even though this is starting to come out in mainstream media, you still have this horrible persecution going on of Dr. Miley Trin. And she's actually said that I am innocent. The crime has been committed against her. So what they did is they actually created 6 more complaints, each involving a patient. Not a single one of those patients had made a complaint against her. They actually fabricated the evidence.
Yep.
This is her battle with APRA.
APRA is a criminal organisation, but we just don't have enough people who are close enough to it. I tried to do a case against them, and it was a really, really stressful situation for a woman who lost her career as a medical professional, and she just caved in because of the stress, because of the pressure which is mounted, and we just didn't have enough people who knew that it's a poison. And she's now suffering to this day like so many other people. I'm heading up to Queensland in a week with 25 paramedics, people we need who are not working in their profession because they said no. So it's going on to this day. It's affecting families.
In my word, mate, it's going to affect whole communities. It already is. It's going to bring our communities down, our societies down, and we are the people that need to be there with the safety net to help rebuild this the best way we can, because what's coming is not nice.
Well, and another thing that's going on, particularly in your area, is the whole levy thing. And even though it's been put off for a year, some people have been in the councils, and this is Moira Council and person asking the question. But listen to this statement about the 17 farmers taking their lives.
Everybody, I believe you opposed, and as you've said, you've opposed the new emergency service on the farmers and others. But I'd very much like to be able to have that in writing as to what your submission was in opposing it. As you probably realise, there's been, within days of Jacinta announcing this, there were 17 farmers that committed suicide, and that's on her head. And there'll be more. And we don't want to see that in our community at all. And being pushed to pay it, that's what's going to happen. The farmers are already struggling. They get hit every time. And Jacinta's just announced another 53 new or revised taxes on everybody. Food's going up, everything's going up, and the farmers can't sustain anymore.
No, that's right. Look, kudos, hats off to Wade over at Billboard Battalion. He posted this under elbow, and he really socked it to them. He's basically laid it all out, and really, he's basically hasn't held back at all. So anyway, look, that'll be on the website, guys, so I won't struggle through it, but go over and read it. But what's really interesting about that as well, this is the price of beef at the moment, okay? So that's $23.50 a kilo in Australia. Who can actually afford that?
They've just allowed into, which state was it? They've just passed the artificial meat, guys. All right, they're lab-grown meat. They've just passed it. They're going to start with quail. That was it, quail.
Oh, well, look at this.
China. So I'm in a grocery store right now, and I wanted to show you how the American tariffs are affecting Chinese customers. So I was gonna get some beef for dinner tonight, and I saw this. So what used to be here is American beef, but now, as you can see, it says Australian beef. And I did look around. I couldn't find one single pack of beef from America. So I guess China just stopped buying beef from America, and it went straight to Australia. So the whole idea that China is hurting because of the American tariffs, well, they're not, because they're not as dependent on the U.S. In fact, only 18% of Chinese imports come from America. And for stuff like beef and soy, they can just go somewhere else easily. So I guess I'm having Australian beef for dinner tonight instead of American beef. And honestly, because of the food quality, I probably trust Australian beef better. And this box of beef right here is 50 RMB, which is about $7 US.
$7 US.
Wow. We're paying triple that.
$7 US. Can you believe it?
It's probably
Just
mRNA, and
outrageous.
it's been hit with hormones, and no doubt, you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, $7 against what we're paying, mate. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's just
Yeah, no, I know. Somebody came up with this brilliant meme, though. Look at this. Albo has finally found something he won't spend money on. On defence.
Yeah, defence of the Australian people. Exactly right. All the Australian country.
That's right.
Very sad.
Yeah, no, that's it. And look, you've got this situation as well where there's a teenage criminal has managed to rack up 113 charges, and he's 15, and he's been given another chance.
And he's back out on bail.
Yeah, well, but like you've got basically machete attacks everywhere. Like very obviously the machete attacks have worked, or the machete banning has worked. Lozzie B has written, machetes have been out stabbing people again.
You're gonna laugh, but yeah, it is not the gun or the machete. It's the society that you, our government, have decided to bring down upon us in this beautiful country of ours, and you guys will pay for it.
That's it. Look, there was this comment about it between a comparison between Victoria and Queensland. I found it really interesting.
Victoria, 2 states, 2 realities. Queensland, they toughened up. Late 2024, they introduced strict new laws to crack down on youth crime. No more detention as a last resort. Violent teens can now be sentenced as adults. The result? Youth crime is down 32% in just a few months. Actual leadership with actual change. Now, let's look at Victoria. Same time frame, youth crime in 14 to 17-year-olds is up 30%. Offenders aged 10 to 13, up 22.5%. And what's Premier Jacinta Allen's solution? Ban machetes. Not the thugs, not the gangs. Just the weapon. What a dumbass. Imagine thinking the problem is the blade, not the violent offender carrying it.
Exactly.
Well, it's so good though. Is everyone, like just average people like us, are actually saying it? For so long, there was no one actually speaking up. So you've got all of these people that are speaking up now. So, which is really awesome. And I really appreciate, people like Craig Vine. He's talked about here on this, the digital photo ID.
Ignite the system, if that makes sense. Got sucked into what is now the digital facial recognition idea situation. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you on the actual my Uber phone. So on here, if you can read that properly, take a photo of yourself to confirm it's your account, right? See how they sort of, it's all about making it look like it's for a security. We know that they're going to do that with all the platforms. They're going to do that with all the wherever they implement this idea of photo recognition or facial recognition. They're going to glorify it like that and make it look like a security thing. Okay, fair enough. The technology was designed for that, but it's in the wrong hands now. So
really good work for pointing it out, actually. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, everything's going to be the same, guys. Like I said, they're going to come at your go-kart racing, at your pony clubs, you know, your soccer clubs, your rugby clubs, your AFL football, that aerial ping pong you play down there. You know, they're going to come for everything, and they'll go through the kids, all right, to make it that you have to get them digitally signed up so that they've got them into the system, guys. You know, once you're in, you're in.
No, that's it. You know, and they trick you into doing it as well. They take away accounts, and you can't get it back until you do, as we've seen recently. Look, but what is really good though is Australia's really innovative, and we actually find solutions pretty easy. One of them is this ugly food.
Aussie farmers are lauding a fresh way to salvage fruit and veggies, typically considered not good enough for the supermarket.
The produce can be delivered straight to your door so it doesn't end up in landfill.
Brunswick mum Mariana Macarini feeds her family of 3 with ugly fruit and veg and says the imperfect produce is perfectly good to eat.
With dimples and a little bit misshaped, but perfectly edible.
For $70, she receives 2 boxes a month filled with fresh food that normally wouldn't make the cut on supermarket shelves.
It's way cheaper than going to the supermarket. Also, how convenient it is.
Farmers Pick sources the food straight from growers around the country. It saved more than 100 tonnes of zucchinis dumped by supermarkets this summer, like those from Dami Singh's farm in Shepparton.
There was a lot of zucchinis with the funny shapes, funny look, funny colour. So you can't sell that to the mainstream market.
This, enables them to move product that, is oversupplied if there's a flush of cauliflowers or a run of zucchinis.
It's hard to imagine, but this produce would be...
Everyone in Australia, get on it. Get on it.
It's called Farmers Pick. It's called Farmers Pick. So it's good. Now, Dr. Joe,
we get ours from a great place. We get ours from over the mountain from I won't say the name of it in case they hunt them down, but a little farm over there, and they deliver it down to us, and it's grouse, guys. We get that once a week. I get all my farm, like, proper milk, you know what I mean? Proper cow's milk. I get goat's milk yogurt. It's just unreal, guys. It's unreal. We get the veggies. Now, the veggies don't last long, so as they come in, the ones that are going to go off the quickest are the ones you got to prepare your meals with, because that's what I'm finding. This stuff's fresh. It's got no preservatives, so it will go off. Okay, but if you get yourself into a little system, which I'm trying to put the apron on now and look after my wife because she's working and I'm bludgeon, and you just got to work it out, guys. But I'm telling you, it works, man, and it's good food. Great food.
That's right. I really take my hat off to this lady. She's just come out and said what a lot of people have been thinking
of this fake token welcome to country crap. Every damn footy game, cricket match, concert, you name it, we've got to sit through the same rehearsed nonsense. Like it actually means anything to the average Aussies. It's not culture. It's a box-ticking exercise pushed down our throats. You want real respect? How about we honor the people who actually built and protected this country, our Anzac, our veteran, the men and women who gave their lives so that we can enjoy a beer and watch a game and live free. Instead of some awkward speech nobody connects with, let's have a minute silence for the game. Let's raise the flag, play the anthem proud, and remember our fallens. That's real, that's Aussie, not this guilt trip ritual that does more to divide us than unite us. Time to stand up for real culture, our shared Aussie identity.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah. Well said, Dale. Yeah,
no,
for sure.
It's great because we need that kind of commentary as well, because it cuts down the left and that sort of stuff as well. Now the left are famous for their ABC. Dr. Joanne Howe is
in just 24 hours. Our ABC has not just produced 2 propaganda pieces on abortion, but they also have turned off the comments when we got involved, including hiding my comment right from the beginning both times so that nobody could see them. When you guys started calling this out, saying where's the comment from Dr. Joanna Howe, and making points that late-term abortion really is monstrous and barbaric, the ABC just turns comments off completely because they can't have anyone questioning the false narrative that they perpetuate in their stories that abortion up to birth birth. So killing healthy babies in the heart with potassium chloride and delivering them dead is actually in the best interest of women. And it's healthcare, apparently. In their propaganda pieces, they follow a formula. They only interview big abortion providers like Mary Stopes and abortion activists and activist academics who support their false narrative.
That's our ABC. Can you believe that? They run with our ABC, and they're turning off the people's comments.
Yeah, and hiding her first comments. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I just went, "What have they done? You're kidding!" Like, it's like, we shouldn't have an ABC. We should be the ABC. Caz, you, me, Derek, and a few others. You know what I mean? We'd be a great ABC.
Couldn't do worse, could we?
Oh,
No,
definitely not. Well, we could.
My objection to all of that is we're killing babies because it's good for the mother, but we're bringing in African thugs who buy $1,000 Nike shoes on our bill, and they've got all their brand new clothes and they've got the latest brand new iPhone, and we're paying for it, but we're killing babies. We have got everything upside down now with the ABC and this socialist government we got.
No. And look what. I'm loving all of these people, these newbies that are popping up on the social media. One of my favourites at the moment is Dave right now. He just puts it so succinctly.
Zero. I would hope so, but I'm not holding my breath because you got Blackout Bowen out there, and he is committed to it, even though we're getting reporting like this coming out from the Financial Review. Cost of Victoria's renewable grid plan understated by at least $16 billion. It will be more than 4 times the $4.3 billion figure set out in a transition roadmap unveiled last month. Yes, this stuff costs way more than it's worth, and we've got guys out there who for years, guys like Bjorn Lomborg, who kind of believes in man-made climate change, he's just saying it's not worth it. Net Zero's cost-benefit ratio is crazy high, so let's talk about that and what's happening in the Australian political landscape when it comes to net zero. So Bjorn has publishes heaps of stuff, but I found this one on his X, and it's showing that the benefit of having net zero policies is $4.5 trillion per year, but the cost is $26.8 trillion. The cost benefit, yes, there might be some benefits to the economies and people and so on. Now not the Greens, because the Greens are commies, but people that are environmentally conscious would say, oh yes, but we have to bear that cost because it's for the planet and we'll all die. We won't all die. In fact, planet warming saves lives because more people die from extreme cold than die from extreme warm. And around the world, other leaders get this. Guys like Trump have pulled out of Paris Accords. Nigel Farage, who just stormed home in the recent UK local government elections, he's making commitments if they get government at the next national election.
We'll leave it there. The full clip is available, of course, on the website, but he's just very succinct in what he did. And now, speaking of the UK, this guy has decided that we've got to prepare for war. Listen to him.
And today, following through on this review, I want to set out 3 fundamental changes that we're going to deliver. First, we are moving to warfighting readiness as the central purpose of our armed forces. When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready. And frankly...
So,
you
actually,
NATO
no...
worshipping bastard.
Yeah, no, it was actually NATO. NATO was behind the Ukraine attack on Russia.
Yeah,
drone attack. So, but of course, they're all, all of the war hawks are desperate to try and get us into a war. So, it's just crazy. We live in crazy times. All right, and we'd like a bit of odd news here, and I wanted to bring this in because it's very interesting about the energy field.
I just shattered his energy fields. What I did with my psychic energy. Now you're strong. What I did is I played with your energy field. Your energy field, your aura out here. Raise your arm. You test strong. I'm playing with your energy field. I've just shattered your energy field and you can't hold your strength. I realign your energy field and you're strong. You with me? Okay. Now I came up in front to align your energies. But if I come up and back, you're weak. If I go down and back, you're strong. So it's telling you the energy is going around your body, not just up and down. You follow what I have?
Yeah.
So you know martial arts?
Yes, sir.
Doing all this stuff, they're not saying, "Hi, Stevie, have you had a good day?" They're trying to mess with your energy fields, and the other guy, understanding this too, is trying to keep it in alignment, because the one that can toy with your energy fields the most wins.
And that's actually kinesiology. He was actually practicing the central meridians in that case. He was basically unzipping and zipping.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
Which I've done, kinesiology. I've been, what is it? I've been to a kinesiologist. But yeah, that's quite. And look, doing martial arts myself and having Bruce Lee as my hero when I was young, from 20-year-old to about 30. It's all about, energy, guys. Bruce could drop a punch from an inch and put someone back 6 foot, and it was all about containing the energy and releasing it, and that's what we are. God was very smart. God's no fool. Look what he made, and they're just trying to fuck with it. It's as simple as that. God doesn't make mistakes, but the devil certainly had his way in this world of ours.
That's it. All right, we're being taken out by Onward Christian Soldiers, a remake of it. So, Derek, if you'd like to have some final words, and Dave, if you'd like to close the show, that would be great.
Well, I'd just like to let everybody know, and thanks for letting me share this evening with you. I'm working with a whistleblower who is going to be taking John Setka, Dan Andrews, and Jacinta Allen into a court case with a law firm who's from Sydney, because no one in Victoria will do it. And he's going to be pushing and exposing the fact that Dan Andrews paid John Setka, the head of the CFMEU, $20 million to push the COVID lie.
Yep.
I'm working along with these guys of people who are not CFMEU members who've been affected by COVID to work alongside that court case. So we are going to be telling this story every single day, because we've got to break this open. This is the closest chance we have of having a former premier exposed for the fraud on our country. So that's going to be happening. It's going into court. We don't have a date yet. They have got a case number. If you have got anybody in your community that has been affected, please get in touch with Caz and Dave, because we are building a list of people from every state that have been affected because of what Andrews did to pay off the unions to take the jab.
Well done, buddy.
Right.
Well done. Okay, who's my hero now, Martin Taylor? My hero is a guy, he's only one, mate. He's called Jesus. That'd be my hero. Sorry, in these time, and never was too much, but in this day and age, I've certainly over the last 5 or 6 years understood what my journey in life, coming from a Christian family with absolutely brilliant parents that taught Sunday school for 44 years, I think it was. I went and got him the certificate and that for it, actually, and a little trophy. And guys, but I've got a totally different view on it now. Now this is, as I say to you all the time, the devil loves someone that sits on the fence. He ain't going to come near you. Okay, but you got to be in the battle. And some people said, "What's coming, Guru? What's coming?" Well, we got a lot of stuff coming, guys. We got natural, we got unnatural, disasters coming, weather events. All right. And believe me, we've got them coming. All right. We were told that this is what was going to happen. Okay. So, what are they going to do in the skies? Well, my inside info, and I'll give it to you, was, they started out with the aluminium and the strontium, the barium, to try and knock out your pineal gland, guys. And they think they've done a pretty good job with that. Bar us people that are actually releasing our pineal glands and trying to do the right thing, you know what I mean? But on the majority, they've done a great job. Well, they've tried parasites over in America. They've dropped parasites. We know this for a fact, all right? They've dropped graphene. And guys, I've heard that they've accumulated 100,000 tons of sulfuric acid. Now, that's not to scare you. That's just to tell you what I've heard. And do you think that these people would not spray us with sulfuric acid? And I've already had some people come back to me and go, wow, I got to go and look at some stuff on my property because we were wondering what. Now, I'm not saying it is, all right, but it really like sparked a few people. So, guys, 100,000 tons. I think that's enough to spray the Western world. But anyway, this is what they're doing, guys. All right, this is why we need to come together and put a stop to this because, yeah, we are going to see some tsunamis and some this, that, and the other. Yeah, I'm ready. Watch the water. Exactly, Karen Taylor. I'm ready to go straight out that way, guys. If a tsunami comes, man, I'm going to deep water. I'll be straight up and over, then I'll turn around, then I'll come back. But anyway, are you prepared if something did happen? Can you pick up your run sack, jump in your car, get your kids, get up the mountain if you live in the Illawarra, if something did go wrong? And I'm not saying anything is, but if it did, would you be prepared? Because you're here to endure and overcome, guys, and I don't know what's coming. I can only tell you what I'm hearing on the grapevine. Okay? But yeah, like that just said, we are David and we're up against Goliath, but guess what? In God we trust. Good night, people. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Derek.
Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe. Forward into battle, see his banner go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. At the sign of triumph, Satan's host to flee. On then, Christian soldiers, on to victory. Hell's foundations quiver at the shout of praise. Brothers, lift your voices loud, your anthems raise. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Like a mighty army moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we, one in hope and doctrine, one in charity. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Like a mighty army moves the church of God. Brothers, we are treading where the saints have trod. We are not divided, all one body we, one in hope and doctrine, one in charity. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Onward then, ye people, join our happy throng. end without your voices in the triumph song. Glory, law, and honor unto Christ the King. This through countless ages, man and angel sing.